Okay. Online guys, do you guys see my screen? I'm just sharing my screen. So what we covered yesterday, static variable, static functions and static block. Anything else? I think I gave you some assignment where I asked you to implement all the concept. Did you guys try to implement all? Understood the concepts? First normal method. No, I was waiting for you only to start the session. I'm just kidding. Okay, can you close the door? Okay, so I just start with the initial method and then change it to constructor and then add one variable called college name, then change that college name variable to static and then I asked to write one static function and then I asked to use this keyword. So how many concepts we are implementing? Almost all you are practicing everything. Objects you are practicing, functions you are practicing, static you are practicing, constructor you are practicing. Did we talk method overloading? I said today we will discuss, right? Okay. So polymorphism, there are two types of polymorphism. Sorry, not two types. Polymorphism can be achieved in two ways. Don't tell two types of polymorphism. There is only one polymorphism, but it is achieved. One is using compile time polymorphism. Another one is using runtime polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism achieved using method overloading. Compile time polymorphism achieved using method overloading. Runtime polymorphism achieved using method overriding. Okay. First, we will go with overloading, and then we will go for going with the overriding. Okay. So, in order to understand the overriding, you should have knowledge of inheritance. Once we complete the inheritance, then we will go for using the overriding. Overriding uses super keyword. I also told yesterday to use this keyword so that you will get to practice with this. In real time automation project, you always use this keyword. You never use temp variable. You just give the same name, whatever class variable you have given, you will be giving the same name in the method also. So we always use this keyword. Okay. So let's move on for polymorphism. Polymorphism. Okay. They offed it. Poly means many. Morphism means forms. This is biological word from where it is derived. Poly means many. Morphism means forms. Many forms. Many forms means like say I have one method. So far, whatever methods we have written, right? Whatever methods we have written so far. So we are writing multiple methods. Like one is init method, one is display method, and one is init static data, etc., etc. We are writing multiple methods. But what are the method names? What are the method names? Method name is same or different name? Method name is same or different name? Take the previous example. Init is one method. Display is another method. Names are changing. The names are changing. They are not the same. Then one more method I'm using init static data. That is again another method. So you guys are having multiple methods but different names. Polymorphism means many forms. Polymorphism means many forms. Many forms means more than one method will have the same name. Method overloading means more than one method will have the same name. So why should I have more than one method with the same name? So why they invented concept called method overloading? In C language, you do not have any concept called method overloading. C language does not have any concept of method overloading. They introduced it in OOPS language. Once object-oriented programming language started, they introduced this method overloading concept. Okay. So what is method overloading? If a class has multiple methods by the same name. Yesterday example, you have 3 methods, but 3 different names. How many methods we had yesterday? 3 methods. One is init, another one is display, another one is init static data. You are having 3 different methods, but different names. So what is method overloading? If you have more than one method with the same name, more than one method with the same name, then we are calling it as a method overloading. More than one method with the same name, but different parameters. It is known as method overloading. If you are having a method with the different parameters, then we are calling it as a method overloading. Suppose you have, okay, let's not read all theory. Anyhow, I'll explain whatever theory is written there. I'll explain the same thing. Now, I wanted to add 2 numbers that we did one program, right? When we talked about functions, introduction to functions, we did one program. So what is that program? Addition of the numbers, addition of 2 numbers. What is my function name? Add. How many parameters it was taking? 2 parameters. One integer, another one is also integer. It's up to you. One integer, one float, or one float, one integer. It's up to you, whatever you wanted to do. But now how many values it was adding? 2 values. Now, if I give an example, if you go for C language where you do not have method overloading concept, now I'll write one method called add1. Okay, I would say int x comma int y. How many parameters you can add here? 2 parameters. I'll write some coding here. This is my definition. Then I'll write one more function add2. Now I'm giving float x comma double y. I'll write some coding. What is the coding? Just x plus y. Nothing you have to do here, right? You wanted to add 2 numbers, so you're just giving x plus y. Now I'm writing one more function called add 3. Now here I would say int x comma int y comma int z. Some definition of the method. Now I'll write one more method add 4. Okay, one float x comma float y. How many methods you have? How many methods? 4 methods. What is the definition? What is the names of the method? Add 1, add 2, add 3, add 4. What all these methods are doing? What is the purpose of all these methods? Adding of numbers only. What is my function name? Function names are changing. One is add 1, another one is add 2, add 3, add 4, etc. C language, if you wanted to do this, you have to do it this way. C language does not support more than one method with the same name. Now, do you think it is difficult to remember with add1 is doing what? I mean, doing what means what parameters it is adding? Add2 is adding what? Which parameters? Add3 is adding what? Which parameters? Add4 is adding what? Which parameters? But ultimately concept is what? All of these methods are doing what? Addition of the numbers only. Same concept. What you are doing? Adding the numbers only. It is difficult to remember all method names with the different names. Though they are performing same task, it is difficult to remember with those names. Now, can I change all these methods? Now, if I maximize, this is the problem. You will not see the right side part. This is okay. It's only the return type what we are putting. Okay. Now, I wanted to call obj dot add 1. Now I have to go here and I have to see what it is adding. Now I wanted to add two integers, then I have to go and see what it is doing there. Now I wanted to add two float values. I wanted to add two float values. I have to check add one is taking two float, add two is taking, add three is taking. It is tedious process to go and check function by function to understand which function is adding two float, right? Instead of this, what I wanted to do, I wanted to make all these things into one function. Add, 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 add. What all the functions? What is all the functions name? Add. All functions are doing what? Addition. But what is changing? Arguments are changing. Arguments are changing. This function is taking two integers. This function is taking two float. This function is taking three integers. This function is taking two float. So do I need to check add one, add two, add three? I wanted to add two numbers. I'll just give obj.add. I don't need to remember add one is doing what. I mean, add one is taking what parameters, add two is taking what parameters, add three is taking what parameters. It makes your job easier. It makes tester or developer's job easier to remember it with one name rather than remembering it more than one name. Just remember it with one name. So when can I go for using the method overloading? Whenever I have a method which is doing the same task. Whenever I have one function, same task, but data is changing. One function, same task, but data is keep on changing. Example here, what first it is two integers. What it is doing? Adding. Second function, what it is taking? Two parameters. What parameters is taking? Float and double. Third time again I am adding. What it is adding? Three integers. Next time one more function. What it is adding? Two float. What is changing? Data is changing. So if the data is changing, but your task is same. What is your task? Adding the numbers. This is advantage of using the method overloading. You don't need to remember multiple methods with a different name. Remember one method name and just call it with one method name. Okay. So this is one major reason why they introduce the method overloading concept to the industry. Okay. Now you should get a question. Think about it. I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes time. You should get a question after seeing this. What should be your question? Think and let me know. Your breakfast is digested, not allowing to think. Always full stomach, empty stomach, brain will not work. Maybe some empty times it will work, but full stomach it will never work. It will always make you lazy to sleep. Where you are now, full stomach or empty stomach? If you are in normal, it will work. So how many functions are having the same name? 4 function. How do you call a function? Object name dot function name. So what is my function name? How many are there? When I call obj.add, which function it will execute? First one. Full stomach, Daniel, I will ignore you answering then. But don't ignore yourself understanding the concept, okay? Does comparable will not confuse, okay? I will answer that question. Now, when you have more than one method with the same name, when you have more than one function with the same name, which one it is going to execute? Function name is same. In the previous example, I said obj.init. So it will go and execute init method. Second one, I'm calling obj.display. Where it will go? It will go to display function. But what is happening here? All are add. When I say obj.add, Does compiler will not confused which one it should execute? Now I am calling obj.add. Which one it will execute here? That's my question. Question to the question is not an answer. And that too same question is not an answer. Which one it will execute? First one. Why? Parameters are, how many parameters you are providing? 2 parameters. How many methods it is taking 2 parameters? This is 2 parameters. This is also 2 parameters. This is also 2 parameters. Yeah. So here, what data type you are providing? Integer. So method overloading always works based on number of arguments. Point number 1. Based on number of arguments. How many methods are taking same arguments? 3 methods. 3 methods are taking 2 arguments. Number of arguments means 3 methods are taking 2 arguments. Now I'm calling a method obj.add 1, 2. How many parameters I'm providing? 2. How many methods are taking 2 parameters? 3 methods. The first one, second one, and the last one, right? So then now the number of arguments count is matching. Number of arguments count is matching. Then it will check for type of the argument. First it will check number of arguments, then it will check type of the argument. First one taking 2 integers, so it will go and execute the first one. Now if I call obj.add, now I would say 20.90f 80.09f. Which one it will execute? Again, how many arguments? 2 arguments. What is different for the first calling, second calling? Number of arguments are same. Number of arguments are same. First one is taking 2 integers. Second one is taking, f means float. You have to understand f means you are explicitly specifying it's a float. Now it will check a function which is taking 2 arguments of type of float. Now what it is taking? Float and float. So where it will go? It will go to the last one. Fourth one. Yeah. Is it clear? This is how it is going to work. Can I have something like this? Can I do this? No? Why? You already have one function with 2 parameters of integer. What I am doing again, the fourth one. So now when I call add 1, 2, first one, which one it will execute? Here I am calling the function add 1, 2. Which one it will execute now? First one. Why not fourth one? First one also taking 2 parameters. Fourth one also taking the 2 parameter. That is also integer. This is also integer. Which one it will execute now? Because it is in the first. Don't think it will follow the sequence. It will take the function name directly, it will go. Now if you take the second calling, we are giving 2 float. That is the last one. Is it coming one by one? No, directly it will jump to the definition of the function, right? So which one it will execute? Compilation error. Compiler will not understand because both are matching. Number of arguments are matching, type of arguments also. So how method overloading works based on number of arguments or based on type of the argument. Now in this case, both are matching, but 2 functions you have with the same. So which one it will execute? Compiler will not understand which one it is should execute. That's why it is going to throw compilation error. Always remember at least one should be different. Either number of arguments should be different or type of the argument should be different. Previously, what was this different? This was float. This was mostly asked question. What is method overloading? How does it work? Method overloading means more than one function will have the same name. More than one function will have the same name. How method over? Then the next question. If more than one function having with the same name, how it knows which method it should execute? Based on number of arguments or type of the argument. If both are matching, it will not work. Number of arguments matching and type of arguments matching, it will not work, because just now I showed you both are integer. This also count is 2, data type also 2. You cannot have more than one function with the same name, with the combination argument is same, count is same. I mean type of argument is same, count is same. It will not work. It will give you compilation error. Okay. Why 2 times? Sometimes by mistake you write. If you write by mistake, compiler is allowing you, not allowing you by giving the error. One more mostly interview asked question on the method overloading. Right now it is not applicable for now. In automation testing, they will ask you once we start the automation testing, just remind me in case 99.5 I will not forget, I will explain you. So they will ask you, can you explain me in your real-time project where method overloading is implemented? If you are putting some, if you're already having experience, if you're going as a fresher, they might even ask a question, where do you think method overloading can be used in automation? Where do you think method overloading can use in automation? Now you take HRM application. That time I will explain you again. So go to your HRM application. Click on login. You have a search option. Not there, admin. Just go to admin. You have a search option here. System, user, search with username, search with user role, search with employee name, then search with status. So how many fields you have total? 4 fields you have. How do you do if I have to do manual testing? How do you do testing for this one? How many test cases you have to write here? Lot of combinations. First search with only username. Just check same username details are showing or not. Next time search with user role. Then search with username, user role, and employee name. Put all the data, three data. Then next what you are doing, username, user role, employee code, and status. Search what should happen. Then search with username and status. Then search with user role. Then search with user role and status. Lot of combination. In testing, whenever you see search, you have to put lot of efforts for such searching criteria. Always remember, whenever you have a search, you have to put lot of efforts, because there will be huge lot of combinations. One only with username, then one only with user role, then only one with employee name, then one only with status. Then how many test cases you got? 4 test cases with individual, one for username, one for other field, etc. Then one more test case, username with the role, username with username, user role. Provide 2 data and see whether search is working fine or not. So altogether, what are you guys doing here? Searching. What are you doing here? Only searching. What is changing? Data is changing. What we did in add, if you take this add example which I am explaining you, what it is changing? What in the HRM you are doing? Only searching. But what you are doing? Only adding. What is changing? Data is changing. Sometimes you are searching with 2 integers, sometimes with 1 integer and 1 double, etc. But what you are doing in HRM? You are searching with only username, then searching with username. So the data is keep on changing. What is your function? Search. In automation, if someone is asking where can we implement method overloading concept in real time? Search. What is your test case? Search only. But how you're searching? First time with one user, second time with one field, second time with two fields, third time with combination of all the fields, fourth time combination of first field and the last field, fifth time first field and the second field, sixth time first field and the third field, seventh time second field and third field, right? You keep on change the lot of combination of data you have to do. If you assign a search user story, that's a bit headache to you. Because if you missed out one criteria and doing the testing, unfortunately, if there is a defect which you missed, you missed the defect. So searching is not a complex job, more time consuming. You have to search with lot of combination. So ultimately, what is your job? Search only. What is changing? Data is changing. That's the place where you go for using this method overloading concept. Is it clear? More than one function will have the same name. So if more than one function have the same name, how system understand which function it should execute? Based on number of arguments or based on type of argument. Okay. So I'm clearly mentioning different ways to overload the method by changing the number of arguments or changing the data type. Okay. Now let's do one. Can you guys do one example? Put more than one method. I already given here. You guys can let me put same thing. Okay. I'll write one example for method overloading. Then you guys can write what should be my class name? What are we writing this program for? Method overloading. I'll put some methods here. Okay. I'll declare one variable. I don't need to declare. I'll just say directly I can say x plus y. You don't need to declare the variable also. You can directly say x plus instead of declaring one variable, then saying sum equal to x plus y, then printing the sum, I can directly use it. Now I'm putting this one for sum of one float and one double. Same thing, x plus y. Now this one is taking how many parameters? Three parameters. Sum of three integers are x plus y plus z. Now how do you call, is these all are static functions or normal functions? These all are normal functions. How do you call a normal function? Creating a object. So how do you create an object? Now which function I have to call? I have to call the first one because this is written in the first. I already explained. You have first function taking two parameters, so you have to call that first one. Then why are you saying first one? Yes. I can call any function. I can call Any function. It's up to me. I can call this one, or I can call this one, or I can call this one. Don't think it is in this sequence, so you have to call it in this sequence. There is no restrictions like that. You can call any function. Now I just wanted to call obj dot. Whenever you put a dot, see how many functions it is showing? 3 functions. How many functions I have? 3. One is taking float comma double. One is taking 2 integers. One is taking 3 integers. Whichever you wanted to use, just double click it. Okay, I wanted to use this one. What is the first one? Integer. What is the second one? Integer. What is the third one? Integer. Okay. Now which one it will execute first? The first one. Execute first one or last one? It don't care whether it is coming first or last. It will check what is my function name, add. What are the parameters I am providing? It will check this one, it will not match. It will check this one, it will not match. It will check this one, it is matching, then it is going and execute this one. Now I wanted to call the second parameter, or I wanted to call the first one, whatever you wanted. Now obj dot add, you select the second one. What is the first parameter? Second method. First one, second method, what parameter it is taking? Float. How do you give the float value? By giving f. Okay. Then next one is what? Double. Double, just give some. Do I need to give the decimal? Not needed. Sorry, f. Do I need to give the f? For double, by default, it will consider as a double. Now I'll say obj dot add. What is pending? 2 integers. I'll give 10 comma 20. Is it clear? So you also joined that gang now? Laughing club? No, you only. I think he's very serious today. Okay. Now why we are calling it as compile time polymorphism? Why are we calling? People will ask you this question. Why are we calling it as compile time polymorphism? Why not runtime? What will be the answer? Because at the time of compilation of your program, compiler will understand which method it should execute, not at the runtime. Your compiler is understanding whenever it is compiling this line number 8, it understands which method it should execute. It checks how many parameters, 3, what data type, integers. It will go directly and execute. This information compiler will have. This information compiler will have at the time of compilation only. That's why we are calling it as a compile time polymorphism. We will run. You add, I will give this program, you add any data type you wanted, go ahead and add it. Sum of 3 integers. What are we printing? Sum of 3 integers. Yeah, it is not considering. I think we have to put some bracket. I believe we have to put this inside the bracket. Let's see whether these 3 parameters works. We'll use that. Yeah, now it is working. So if you are putting direct x plus y plus z, it is not considering. You have to put it inside the bracket. Just put it inside the bracket. Okay. You guys can play around. You guys can play around, right? Okay. I'll put one for. I think you have to give L for long. How you are giving for the float. I understand your intention. If long data also you are giving, which one it is going to execute? That's why I'm giving only 2 parameters for long. It will consider what? Integer only. I think we have to give the L. For float, you are giving what? F. Integer also same data type. Long also same data type. Both will take numbers. How system will? That's what I'm understanding. Let's say this one is for what? Sum of 2 long integers. I remember we should give the long. If you don't give L, what will happen? Double decimal value by default, it is considering as double. By default number, I mean non-decimal, it is considering as integer. If you are using a float, you are specifying F. If you are using the long, you have to specify L. Okay. I hope your answer is clarified. F is mandatory. Otherwise, if you don't give F, nothing will happen. It will consider it as a double data type. Okay. That's about method overloading. So you guys try to write one example for method overloading. Do the subtraction. Here I am doing what? Addition. Just try to do the subtraction. Now just to show you, I'll try to put one more function with the same name, with the same data type. Long. So system is not allowing to do that. I explained, right? Count is matching. Data type is also matching. When both are not matching, when both are the same, system will not allow to use it. It will give you compilation error. This is called method overloading. I hope you are not overloaded. Method overloading. More than one method will have the same name. What is the advantage of having more than one method with the same name? What is the advantage? For normal function also you create an object. Why method overloading? I explained 2 examples. Search. Common thing. What is changing? Data is changing. Next, add. What is changing? If you have more than one method with the same name, it is easy to remember. Double data type example 2.3. Who is this? I think Nauta, you try to do experiments, whatever you guys wanted to do, try to do experiment. One you said I put long, I put long. Now if I have to put double, I have to write one program for a double. Now in the classroom, someone will ask you one double, one float, one character and one string. If I keep on doing all this experiment, it will go 1 week. Method overloading. Concept is concept. Now can I add one character and one integer and one double data type to method overloading? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you are giving a character, when you are calling a function, you need to provide the character itself. Okay. Always remember, you need to provide data in this format only. First one is taking float. Second one is taking double. When you are calling the function, you should give the first as a float itself. You should give first one as a float. Then next parameter is what? Double. Always check this sequence. I already explained this while explaining about the functions, which we already discussed. Is it clear? There is nothing much about method overloading, but 2 questions will come most probably. What is method overloading? How it is going to work? Second question might come as why we are calling it as a compile time, because compiler understands which method it has to execute during the compilation of time. That's why we are calling it as a compile time polymorphism. Okay, now the next question. Can we overload main method? Overload means more than one method with the same name. So did I say it is applicable only for user defined functions? Function is a function, concept is a concept. If it is a predefined or user defined, same rules applicable. Rules will not change. If it is a main, can we overload the main method? Mostly interview ask question. These two for sure you will get. Why are we writing public static void before the main? Question number 1. Question number 2, can we overload the main method? Related to main questions, main function. So can we overload the main method? Answer is yes. Can I say answer is yes means can I put more than one main method in my program? You can put it. The next question comes, if I have two main methods in my class, which method will execute first? JVM, do you think JVM will not confuse? Who has to call the main method? In this example, add, it is our method. Based on parameter what we are giving, we are calling. But when it comes to main, am I calling the main? Who is calling the main? JVM. Yesterday we discussed, right? Who is calling the main? JVM. So I have two mains now. Which one it will call? I have two main functions. Which main it will call? Which main it will call? Okay, make an interview ask question. They will mostly ask. First question. Can I overload the main? Can I overload the main? Overload means you understood, right? More than one method with the same name. Okay. Can I overload the main? Answer is yes. Answer is yes. Second question. If I have more than one main method, if I have more than one main method, if I have more than one main method, which main method will execute? Which main method will execute? What should be the answer? Answer is, make a note for the answer. The main method which is having line number 5, you can make a note. The main method which is having public static void, you can note line number 5. The main method which is having public static void main string args. The total line you need to note down. That method it is going to execute. Okay. Now take an assignment. Take assignment. Write a program. Write a program. Write a program with the two main methods. Write a program with two main methods. With the two main methods and execute. One main is already there. Whenever you create a class, you check create main, right? It will automatically insert this line. So another main you have to add yourself. Like how I added add method multiple times. Add one more main. You should not have only one main. You should have at least two, more than one main method. Then we call it as a then we call it as a main overloading. Okay. Try to do it. If you don't get it, we'll see tomorrow. Okay. There are two assignments now. One assignment for method overloading with subtraction and another overloading with the main. Okay. Now method overloading is done. Constructors and methods both are the same. I told you the differences between constructors and functions. You know the differences, right? So now I talked about overloading the main. Can I overload the constructor? Answer is yes, you can overload the constructor. Maybe you can mark it as interview question. Sometimes people might ask you that. Make a note. Can I overload the constructor? Can I overload the constructors? Can I overload the constructor? Answer is yes. Answer is yes. If a class having more than one constructor, if a class is having more than one constructor, then it is called as constructor overloading. Then it is called as the constructor overloading. Then it is called as constructor overloading. Now, example, constructor will always have class name, right? If you have more than one constructor means, if you have more than one main method means main overloading. If you have more than one add method means method overloading. If you have more than one constructor means constructor overloading. As simple as. Okay. Take another assignment. Try to overload the constructor. Try to overload the constructor. Try to overload the constructor. I'll give you one example. I'm just trying to update the student with constructor example only. I already have one constructor here. Constructor means same name. I wanted to add one more class. Sorry, one more constructor. What is the constructor name? Class name. So I will not give any parameters. I will not give any parameters. I'll just write some. When will this constructor execute? When will this constructor execute? After implementation or object creation? When will constructor execute? Check your notes. Go back to your notes. Check. When object is created. Now, when this constructor is executing, this one, whenever I'm creating a object, this is what taking some parameters, right? So I'm creating an object. This line is not needed. I'll just delete it. So this line is also not needed. Just delete it. This line is also not needed. Delete it. So now this constructor is taking parameters, correct? And I added one more constructor. This constructor is not taking any parameters. When this constructor will execute? When this will execute? What is this one? Constructor or a function? What is my class name? You forgot English also to read. What is my class name? Student with constructor. What is this name? What is this one? Constructor, because it is having same class name. Then what is this one? Class name is matching. Then it is also called constructor. When it will execute? Whenever you create an object, it will execute. Now, when this will execute? Concept is same. Whenever you create an object, it is going to execute the constructor. Now, how many constructors I have? Previously, I was having only one constructor, and that to parameterization it was taking. Now I have one more constructor which does not take any parameter. So what I have to do? I have to create one more object. Some name I will give, okay, equal to new. This constructor is taking any parameters? Which one it will execute? Same method overloading. Two integers, which definition it will go? Two integer add. Three integers you are giving, three integers. If I am not giving anything here, it will go to the default a function which does not take any parameter. Okay, just try to run the same program. It will execute default constructor. Why it is executing in the last? I see all girls are sitting very calm. I don't know. Why? Why it is executing in the last? Because you are creating constructor in the last. Sorry, object. If you put this line in the first, it's like calling of the function. You don't need to call, but you create object, it will automatically go to the constructor. When you are creating, I'm creating in the last. That's why it is going to the last. Okay. Now, if you go back to forgot password. Okay. Now, if you go to method overloading, I'll write one more function. Just for the sake of showing, I'm showing you. Don't think method overloading means you should always have parameters. You can have parameters. You can also have non-parameters also. System.out. Obj dot. Which one it will execute? Now first come here. How many parameters you are providing? 3 parameters. Which one it will execute? This one, because it is taking 3 parameters. Then which one it will execute? 2 parameters. Which parameters? One float and one double. It will execute this one. Next one, what you are doing? 2 parameters, integers. It will execute this one. Then 2 long. It will go for long. Now I'm not giving any parameters. This is not taking any parameters. Try to run it. So, I mean, what I'm trying to explain you guys, don't think method overloading only with the numbers. It doesn't matter. You give all the characters, you give all the numbers, but different argument, different type of argument is the important thing which you need to understand. Don't think different type of argument should be only integer. It should be only character. It can be anything you guys can provide. Just try to run it. Same name. Why again is coming in the last? Because I added definition in even in I added definition in the first, but it is still coming in the last. Why? I'm calling in the last. Simplest answer. Don't think first you added, it should come first. First, which one you are calling, based on that it will go. Okay. Is it clear? Method overloading. I think Premanidhi, I already given detailed notes for difference between constructors and functions. I think maybe you have absent on that class. I'm not sure. Okay, you can check with the admin for recording videos. Okay. Done. Okay. Next, move on for Another topic, constructor overloading is done. Now we'll talk not overloading, this is overriding. Now, this is the next one. Static we already done, right? Why main static? You already have the answer, right? I also given the answer as well. Now we will move on understanding the inheritance. Once we complete inheritance, we will understand runtime polymorphism. Okay. So what is inheritance? Inheritance means you are inheriting the properties. Inheritance means you're inheriting the properties of your parents, right? So we all have the parents, and parents will have some properties, and parents will have child. Child will get the properties from parents. That is what exactly called as inheritance. But don't think you will get properties in Java. If I write some program, I cannot get my father properties. So properties in this sense here, code. Properties are nothing but code. Major purpose of inheritance is for code reusability. I write some methods in one function and someone can go ahead and reuse my method. Example, I gave login. Adding beneficiary, you need to log in. Transfer funds, you need to log in. So tester one already written a code for login. Tester one already written a code for login. Do you think tester two has to automate the coding for adding beneficiary? Tester should automate the coding for adding beneficiary. Do you think tester 2 should write again login code? No need. Tester 3 to transfer funds. Do you think they need to transfer again login code? Not needed. So where I am putting login? In Java, there is nothing without class. Everything you write it inside the class only. In one class, I have written my code called login. I'll go and tell to tester 2, go ahead and use my class, extend my class, extend my class so that they can use my login method. So inheritance is a mechanism in which one object acquires all the properties. One object acquires all the properties and behaviors of parent object. One object acquires all the properties of parent. Parent in the sense, in inheritance, you have, let me, okay. In inheritance, so far, whatever examples we have done, so far, whatever examples we have done, all these examples are using only one class. All these examples are using only one class. We never write two classes so far. We're always written only one class. Whenever you talk about inheritance, you will always have more than one class. You will always have more than one class, right? So now in IT industry, we call it as parent class, super class, base class. Meaning is same. I'll explain you what is super class and all. Meaning is same. And some people call it as a child class, subclass, or derived class. Meaning is same. There is no change. Now let me give you one example. Okay. Now let me write one example. Directly write it in Eclipse. New class. What is a new class? Okay. Here I'll write one class. I have method 1. Now see, there are two classes here. I think laughing club is increasing. I need to change the places. Members are increasing. Okay. So now how many classes I have here? I have two classes. One is father, one is child. Right now there is no relation between these two. Right now there is no relation. Father class is different, child class is different. To make a relation, what we need to say is we need to use keyword called extends. Extends is a keyword which is used to make a relation between one class to another class. Which class you wanted to extend? Father. Now, father is having what? One property. Print and print difference, I will explain you. Just remind me after this example. I'll show you the difference. Now, father is having, you guys can note down later. Anyway, I'll put this entire program in the Google class. You can directly take from there. So father is having what? One property. Method 1 is called property. Don't think real-time property. Property means code. Code means where you write a code inside the method or function. Now, class child is extending the father. Class child is extending the father. It means child will get the properties from the father. Child will get the properties from the father. It means the method 1 will be allowable for child class also. Method 1 will be allowable for child class also. Why it is allowable? Because you are extending it. You are extending which class? Father. To which class you are extending? Child class. So whatever properties you have in father will be allowable to the child. As simple as, okay. Now child will also have his own properties. Child will also have his own properties along with the properties of father. Now, understood? Inheritance means create. Exact definition of inheritance is creating a new class from the existing class. Creating a new class from the existing class. What I am doing here, I am creating a new class from the existing class which is called father. What I am trying to do, I am creating a new class called father, and this class is created from, sorry, I'm creating new class called child from the existing class father. Okay. Now here, this is called as what? Father class is called as parent class or super class or base class. Some people call what is the super class. Some people call what is the base class. Some people call what is the parent class. All are same meaning. It differs people to people. They, whichever they are comfortable, they use the same thing. Here, child is called as a what? Here it is called as a child class or subclass or derived class. Or derived, meaning is same. Don't get confused. Someone is saying subclass, someone is saying child class, someone is saying derived class, there is no much difference. Meaning is same. It is not going to change. Now, in previous example, we were having only one class. We are having only one class. We were directly creating object for that class. Getting what I'm saying? Previously, till now, whatever examples we have done, there is only one class. For all one classes, we are creating only one or multiple object, but class is same. Now, when it comes to here, now I have what? Two classes. One is father, one is child. So for which class I have to create object? Father? We have to create object for child or father? Father. Child. Why child? Because you should create object for the child, not for the father. Because child already getting everything from father. Child is getting everything from the father. Child in the sense your child class. Child class is already getting all the properties from the father. So if you create an object only to father class cannot access methods of child. It cannot go in reverse. Okay, you will get the properties from the father, but if you create object to the father, father will not have access to the child. So always remember, in inheritance, we always create object to the subclass only, not for the superclass. Always remember, we always create object to the subclass. So now, when I say extends, what will happen? Just to make it more clear understanding, it will take the method one from there. It will put method one here also. Whenever I use keyword extends, immediately what compiler will do, it will take all the methods that are available in the superclass and will put it into the subclass. You will not see like what I am putting here. See, I'm just putting it here like this. I'm putting it here like this, but it is not visible to us. It will automatically take all the methods from the superclass and put it in the subclass. That's what inheritance. You are inheriting properties of superclass to subclass. So when subclass is having all the methods of superclass, so I can create an object for which class? Child. Obj equal to new. Now, can I use this obj to call method one? Obj belongs to which class? Child class. Can obj use the methods of father class? Answer is yes, because child is already inheriting the father. So what it will do? It will put like this, just like you have method one here also. I mean, I cannot go more than showing this. Compiler will put, whenever you say extends, compiler will put all superclass methods into the subclass. So you create an object for the subclass. Subclass will already have properties from father. Then it will also have his own properties. These are our own properties, which is called M2. So now I can say obj dot method one, then obj dot method two. Is it clear? Father will get the, child will get the properties from father. Just try to execute. So you're reusing the method one in the child class. It is going to execute method one and method two. Now I remove this relation. Now what I'm saying, now it is allowing you to create object for, it is allowing you to call the method one of superclass. It is allowing to call method one of superclass because it's a subclass. Now if I delete it, do you think it's a subclass now? Is there any relation? Now do you see, immediately it is throwing an error. At line number 15, it immediately throwing an error because it don't know what is M1. Child class don't know what is M1 because you are not extending, you are not inheriting. Put the cursor there. This method M1 is unresolved for the child. It is clearly saying it is unresolved. It don't know what is method one. It don't even know what is father. It don't even know what is father because it's not a subclass. As long as it is a subclass, it knows. As long as it is not a subclass, it will not know. Now you see there will not be any error. Is it clear? Okay. Now we understood inheritance. I repeat again. Inheritance definition is creating a new class from the existing class. What is the new class here? Child class. What is the existing class? Father. What I am doing? I am creating a child class from the existing class called father. Now, father is called as a parent class, superclass, or base class. Child is called as a child class, subclass, or derived class. Any name is fine. All meaning is same. So whenever you extend a class from superclass to subclass, all superclass methods, whenever you extend a class, all superclass methods will be available to the subclass. Is it clear? Is it clear now? Inheritance. What is the purpose of inheritance? Code reusability. To reuse the code, we have to go for using the inheritance concept. Now, there are multiple types of inheritance. We have, I think we will stop it here. I think someone asked to show the difference between print and println. I think you also asked yesterday string length. So we'll do these two examples. Now, we talked about loops, basics of any programming language. So what I am doing here, I'm putting print ln. Now, just when you run this program, so you see all are printing in different lines. Then one, next line is 2, next line is 3, next line is 4. Instead of print ln, if I put only print, it is going to print in the same line. Difference between print and print ln. Print ln means next line. Print means on the same line. Now you print it. It's continuously printing on the same line. So this will be a little bit confusing to understand. That's why I was using what? I was using print ln. Sometimes people also ask this question, what is difference between print and print ln? Print means the same line. Print ln means the next line. This is the difference. And one more thing, to get the length of the string. Okay, I'll create one class. This is for string example. I'm using string. I thought I told you the length, right? Did I tell you the length? No. Okay. Now I'm declaring one string. String is a data type. String is a predefined class. It's not a data type. Okay. String s equal to, let's say, name, from variable name. Okay. Equal to, I'm giving my variable name. Sorry, name of the person. Now I wanted to get the length of the string. When I wanted to get the length of the string means, length means how many characters you have in the string. How many characters you have. Now I will declare one variable called length. Length equal to name. Length is what? A predefined method. Length is a predefined method which is defined in a class called string. Okay. Now I'm saying int length equal to name dot why it's not giving. Okay, here first of all this itself is not considering as a string. That's a problem. Okay, leave it. Now here I'm saying string length equal to name dot length. So what data type it is returning? Integer. Every function will return a value. That it doesn't mean it should return a value. It has an option. Okay. Int length equal to name dot length. What it is going to return? It is going to return the length of the string. Now I wanted to print the length. What is my variable name? What it is going to print? How many letters I have? It will go and calculate the length. This length is what? Predefined method, which is used to get the length of the string. That's what it is trying to do. Okay. Now add some more thing. I'll add space and I'll give some more. Now how many it will return? 10. It will consider space also as one letter, one character. Okay. Just try to run it. It's printing you 11. Okay. Now let me put these examples in string. One more what we discussed today. Class child method overload. Why it's copied only one? Okay, fine. Huh? Caret. You have one method called caret. If I wanted to get one value, just use system dot out dot println. I think we have one method called caret name dot caret. See, it's a indexing. So which letter you wanted to get? First one or second one? Which one? I wanted to get the third one. So it will print you the letter which is at the index of 3. Now try to run. Caret 0. Why 0? Sorry. Oh, and no, 3 only, right? Oh, it is displaying. Correct. 3, 0, 1, 2. Indexing starting from 0. Okay. Now let me put all these things in Google Class.